With a gap in transportation options to get from Western Massachusetts to Boston, some residents have taken matters into their own hands and have started a commuter van. State Senator Eric Lesser of Longmeadow experienced their commute when he joined these so-called super-commuters for a day, and he spoke with me about the details.
Two of the members of this Vanpool wrote to me because they had worked for offices that were in Springfield. Those offices closed and actually moved their positions to Boston, and they were stuck because they were too old maybe to get retrained or to find a different job, too young to retire. There were no equivalent positions that they could get for the same pay in the Springfield area, and of course they can't just pack up and move to Boston. Number one, they don't want to and they shouldn't because their families are here and they've grown up here. This is their home. But also, even if they wanted to, they can't afford it because the housing is completely out of control, the housing prices in Eastern Mass. And so they were stuck joining this morning Vanpool every day at literally the crack of dawn, 5 o'clock in the morning. They get into a van and they drive east to Boston, and then they drive back every night all together, all in. It's a 5 a.m. departure. They're often not back until around 7 p.m., maybe even 7:30 p.m., back to that Ludlow McDonald's, and then they still have to get to their homes from there
and head home.
Exactly.
And you did it one day with them, but they're doing it all the time. So one of the people who you spoke with was Laura Lee. At the time, she was using the Vanpool, and I spoke with her recently, and she said that she stopped using it because it's just too much back and forth. She's barely getting a night's sleep. She's staying with a friend in Burlington. When you find out that someone who could be contributing to the local economy is now closer to Boston all the time?
It's an outrage, quite frankly. I mean, I did it one day and I was exhausted at the end of the day. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to meet them at the Vanpool. We all drove in together. This is what they do every single day, and there's no reason for it. We need an economy that's growing at both ends of the state, and we need better transportation and infrastructure that will actually get people back and forth by a train so that they don't have to wait in this traffic in these Vanpools. The reason why I think this is so important is it tells a larger story, which is over the last 10, 20, 30 years, there's been a vacuuming of jobs and opportunity out of places like Western Mass, out of the Springfield area, the greater Springfield area, and it's hyper-concentrating all of those jobs and opportunity into just a handful of zip codes in the Boston area. That is not sustainable or good for anyone. In the Boston area, it's led to out-of-control housing prices, rampant gentrification, the T is falling apart, the traffic is terrible, nobody can move around. In Western Mass, it's of course not good because it's led to jobs and opportunity leaving. And at this point now, a lot of people in Western Mass feel like their kids and their grandkids need to leave the region in order to find a good paying job and in order to find a good life for them and their families. We need to break that cycle. Infrastructure will fix that. HighSpeed Rail connecting Springfield and Boston will fix that. Investing in job creation in all of our communities, making sure that it's not hyper-concentrating in a handful of zip codes is really going to be the key.
And I know our listeners know well, too, that you've long advocated for this rail connector. It's being studied right now. If, and that's a big if at this point, if it even is approved, that's years in the making. So what do people do between now and then with congestion getting worse and worse? I mean, this Vanpool, it takes them 2 hours to make the trip. It should take an hour and 5 minutes at most in typical traffic.
More and more people are signing up for these Vanpools, which makes the traffic even worse. You're absolutely right, Carrie. So first off, we can't let up the pressure on the vision, which is high-speed rail between Springfield and Boston. We just can't let up on that. And frankly, if it takes 10 years, well, if we start today, it's a 10-year project. If we wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years, kick the can down the road, well, now it's a 15 or a 20-year project. But you're right that we have an urgent issue right now, which is how do we create jobs and opportunity in our local communities, for example, in the Pioneer Valley, so that people don't have to get in the van and drive 2 hours to the Boston area and then 2 hours back every single day.
Because that's one of the things that Laura Lee and others in that Vanpool told Mass Live was that they would love to find a similar job here in Western Massachusetts, but they have not been able to do it.
So we need to grow the economy here. So how do we do that? Well, we've talked about a lot of these things together over many sessions here. One of the single most important ways we can do this is closing the waiting list at our vocational schools. Right now, we have great vocational schools all across Western Mass: Smith Voc, Lower Pioneer Valley Education Collaborative, Putnam and Springfield, Chicopee Comp, you name it, Pathfinder. All of them have wait lists in really good positions in advanced manufacturing, 3D printing, tool and die making. We need to close those wait lists. We need to get more teachers in there, more equipment in there. We need to do more to attract and grow our life sciences industry here in Western Massachusetts. For example, the new clinical trials unit at Bay State Medical Center has the potential to employ hundreds of people locally here in Springfield and up and down the Pioneer Valley. So we've got to do two things at once. We've got to invest in the infrastructure. We've got to get that rail link to Boston so that we can connect ourselves to that red-hot economy in the eastern part of the state. We also need to grow and nurture the economy here and create jobs and opportunity here so that people like Laura don't have to get in the van at 4:30 in the morning to go to Boston to work. They can drive 15 minutes or take a PVTA bus 15 minutes to work in Springfield or Holyoke or Chicopee or Longmeadow or Shelburne or anywhere in Western Mass if we're producing those jobs and we're attracting those people.
I'll pivot a little bit. You proposed an initiative that would give people $10,000 to relocate to Western Massachusetts and telecommute.
Yes.
Vermont rolled out a similar thing. They're coming up on a year of having had it enacted. And the Burlington Free Press said that, it had mixed reviews. There were some critics of it. But moreover, they saw 110 people make use of the program, brought about 300 people overall to the state of Vermont. The fact that the proposal's been a success in Vermont, do you think that bodes well for it becoming a reality here in Massachusetts?
It certainly helps our argument. And yeah, you're right. There were a lot of naysayers. There were a lot of skeptics when the Vermont program was first proposed, but it's actually shown over the last year to have real results. And they're actually expanding the program in Vermont because it's attracted so many people. And I think it's worth pointing out, and you alluded to this in the statistics you cited, if one person comes, they're usually coming with a family. So if that's 3, 4, 5, even 6 people that are coming based off that one position, now a house is being purchased, there's new investment in the community, there's kids in the school system, that's a person who's shopping in a local store, eating in a local restaurant that wasn't there before. There was an estimate done of just our pilot program, the bill I filed, which would have been a 3-year, $1 million pilot program to just see if this works. Just that $1 million pilot program could have as much as a 10x return in terms of secondary impacts on the economy. We have a challenge here in Western Mass, which is our young people are leaving. Our young families are leaving. We're not attracting enough new people to the region. Remote working is a major trend that's spreading the whole globe. If we could make Western Mass a center for remote working, we could create hundreds, maybe even thousands of really high-paying new jobs virtually overnight. And I'd point out that actually we're very well situated to take advantage of this, partly because we're right in between two major tech centers, New York City just to our south and Boston just to our east. So you could leverage access to those two markets. We're right in between them with remote working. The other thing I would point out is we're a great place to live. So, people can live here. They can take advantage of the great natural scenery, the cultural institutions, the universities. They can still get to the big cities if they need to for business or for recreation, and they can work remotely in between. It is a huge, huge opportunity for us.
One potential sticking point there is that we still don't have high-speed internet all over Western Massachusetts,
Right.
so that would be a challenge.
It all has to be worked together as a package. So you're absolutely right. We have too many communities that don't have high-speed internet. We've made it a big priority in the Economic Development Committee. The Economic Development Bill that we did last year included funding for the sort of last batch of communities that we need to get online, and it also has to be done in conjunction with better rail service. And you can begin to see the combination of high-speed internet, high-speed rail, and remote working, all working in synergy with each other to create a whole new ecosystem here in Western Mass.